Round two, fight. The battle will begin on Sunday afternoon as the conference semis tipping off in Boston with the C's and the Bucks. That's coming your way at 1 Eastern. Celtics 4.5-point favorites there against the still Middleton-less Milwaukee Bucks. As for your afternoon cap, if you will, Grizzlies and Warriors doing battle in Memphis, but the away side a 2-point favorite heading into game one. Here to set the Sunday stage, we say hello to CBS NBA insider Bill Reiter. Bill, for as entertaining as round one was, no real surprises coming out of it. Maybe the means by which Boston disposed of Brooklyn had us clutching our pearls just a bit. But another high hurdle awaits. Milwaukee going to take to the parquet on Sunday. Let's just talk matchups here. Tail of the tape, who's got the edge on paper?
Yeah, Joe, I think if you're looking at paper, it's the Boston Celtics. Their defense has been extraordinary. You cited the fact that they swept and humiliated the Brooklyn Nets out of the postseason. That was largely how they were able to shut down Kevin Durant. They've got scoring options. Jason Tatum is the tip of the spear there, but it's not a one-man show. And obviously the loss of Chris Middleton for this series at a minimum for the Milwaukee Bucks is a huge loss. We know these battles don't get fought on paper, or else the Brooklyn Nets would still be around. But at least in terms of you look at the rosters, you look at the form, you look at the variety, the Celtics look pretty good for where I'm sitting.
And it's really all spurred by their go-to guy. You know, sometimes it's hard to identify the moment when you're in it still, but from where we're sitting, it really feels like this might be the point where we look back on these playoffs and say Jason Tatum put super before his star this postseason. KD and Kyrie check, now an opportunity to put that Giannis-sized notch in his belt. Where have you seen Tatum's game develop the most this season and now into the postseason?
Yeah, I think there's sort of two almost paradoxical answers here for me, Joe, on Tatum. On the one hand, I think his real jump came a few seasons ago when Kyrie Irving left Boston and they needed someone to basically assume the scoring responsibility, have the ball in their hands. Usage rate went up for Tatum, and he showed statistically he can be a start. More or less in the regular season, the exact same stats for the most part this season and last year. But you sort of reference this, I think. Tatum, as great as he was last year, didn't have some of the huge moments and the face-to-face mano-a-mano showdowns against other stars. And that was true in the regular season and epitomized in that series where Tatum out-dueled Kevin Durant. Durant was largely absent. Out-dueled Kyrie Irving for the most part and kept up with him. That one supernova game where Kyrie was unbelievable, but still Boston won. I think Tatum's biggest jump is just being comfortable wearing that suit of armor when you're the knight in shining armor for a particular team. He had the skill, he had the talent, he had the numbers. He's realized and showcasing he can do it under the biggest stage against anybody.
And then on the Milwaukee side, you know, they sort of had their way at both ends in round one, just a massive mismatch there. So maybe the Chris Middleton absence wasn't really magnified. We'll see how it affects this one. By the numbers, C's laying 4.5, totals 217.5, which is 16 points shy of the average output in the 4 regular season matchups between these two. What's your favorite approach to game one?
Yeah, the total is too perplexing for me. We just talked about the fact that you don't play these games on paper, and I think there is an X factor in this series, and it's Giannis Antetokounmpo. The loss of Chris Middleton is huge. It's gigantic. We know it. We know the Celtics on paper are really dangerous, and not just on paper, what they did against the Brooklyn Nets. Giannis is a force of nature, and his ability to attract attention, to score the basketball, the way he was able to put Grayson Allen and Bobby Portis Jr. and other players that are role players in positions to have easy success for me, Joe, means I think the Bucks are in almost every one of these games. I think it's a long, grinded-out series, and I know the game's in Boston. I think 4.5 is way too many. I think it'll be a close game. It would be hard for me to know where to go, but it's a pick-em. But I'll take Milwaukee if they're getting 4.5 points. As long as Giannis is healthy, I think the Bucks' hopes and chances are healthy, and certainly their chances to cover the 4.5 are really strong.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.